myself, I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. So many men sold away. And I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his face. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. But what puzzling you is the nature of my game. I stuck around.
That guy just wants to keep on singing. I'm Jason Schwartz. That was me singing at the college. Did you know that the University of Hawaii Maui College is now a university?
I do know that.
Do you know who this is? I'm sitting
Aloha.
here with a a wonderful lady. This is TINA WILDBERGER, and I like to introduce people in my show as what they are, good people. Now, you've been on Maui a number of years, right?
Thanks, Jason. I've been here 25 years.
25 years. So, and mostly people have seen you, I was going to say hauling ice. You probably don't do much hauling?
I don't do too much ice hauling anymore, thankfully. My
But you had a business
15
or have a
employees
business
take
here
good
with
care
your
of us.
husband, right? For many years. And then I heard your name and someone said, oh, she's working with Kelly. Kelly King was running, and that's when you came up on my radar. And I said, oh. And she says, and then suddenly Kelly was in, and you came up on my radar as a candidate, and also as someone who kind of knew the ropes. And, you know, we had some early conversation, because I was going to say toying. It's never a toy to decide to run, you know. But I was going to be running for a seat, and then Tasha, when I talked to Al Perez from Maui tomorrow, and he mentioned, and I talked to Tasha, and she seems that she was committed, so I backed away. But I've been at this political thing. Tina is our sitting, should I say sitting, and sometimes not sitting, representative for the State House of Representatives in Hawaii for Kihei, Wailea,
Not Maui, Makena. Kihei, Wailea, Makena.
Wailea, Makena, okay.
District 11.
District 11, but I also think of you as someone who is, you don't draw a line. You know, when they say, I'm a state representative, I'm a county representative. You're here to serve, and I'm sure that's why you got into your position. Is there any reason that you chose state as a level that you thought you could be most effective?
The big impetus and the big kind of push into running for office was my predecessor, Kaniela Ng's endorsement of me for that office when he was going to move on and run for Congress.
I see. So you and he had a lot of ideas that were working, or he was a very dynamic, still is dynamic.
Yeah, he's still very much community engaged and working hard for people who need a voice in our community. He's living on Oahu now and working for, I think, a parental advocacy group at the moment.
Well, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we'll see him step back up into
for sure.
The political
I'm sure we'll see more from Kaniela.
So you got involved on the state level, and I wore this so I wouldn't forget to mention Mauna Kea and all the. How can you forget? You know,
yeah, we've got all of our protectors up on the Mauna, bringing voice to indigenous issues.
We are at an amazing place in history where those that have been wronged are still alive, and their family tree is now bringing.
The next generation is taking up the mantle of indigenous rights, for sure.
And as a role, as a representative, and seeing a governor. Now, I imagine, and I'm talking from imagine, I haven't had an opportunity yet to talk to Governor Kihei, even as when he was a candidate. But I know that when you're sitting in that seat, you know, everyone thinks someone's pressing your buttons and pushing your choices. I'm sure that this is a real important place in history.
As a state sitting representative, I, together with my colleague Amy Peruso, who is a state rep for Wahiwa in Oahu,
Right.
and my friend and colleague Kiani Rollins Fernandez, Native Hawaiian county council person representing Molokai, we invited all 100 state house, state senate, and county council members across our state to join us in a message to the governor to ask him to rescind his emergency proclamation, because the people on the mountain are lending voice to people that are voiceless and for issues that are very important to Native Hawaiians and people who love Hawaii. And I hope that, we were pleased to get 17 colleagues to join us out of 100, and I feel like a unified voice is important to support the efforts that are happening on the Mauna.
Ariel wanted me to, put our 2 cents in.
For sure.
We, when I told her that I was having TINA WILDBERGER, I like her. You have aspirations to stay with this political journey?
I'm finding my way, and it's a 2-year contract, renewable every 2 years, as you know, in State House. It's been a very rewarding experience, particularly when I come back to my district and I get so much support from people that I barely know or don't know, and, oh, I know you, and thank you so much for serving. And so that really helps me, because I don't call myself a politician, I call myself an elected official. So I just want to be able to bring a voice to the voiceless and work on issues that I feel like are not getting enough attention, like climate change and sea level rise and disaster preparedness and response. I think specifically are some things that we're really not taking seriously. We have 2 tropical storm forming hurricanes coming at us again this year. We have Tropical Storm Eric and Tropical Storm Flossie are in the Pacific now building, and they're coming our way. And I kind of feel like that's something that on a state level we can really harness resources and do more to be prepared for what is really looking like the inevitable.
Anything that our audiences can do here? What's our timing until it comes into our local?
Eric is going to be near Maui waters on Saturday, but will have been reduced to a tropical storm, so probably just some rain. Flossie's not predictable yet.
6 days out, and then after that. So people need to do the.
So you want to have 2 weeks. The old 5 to 7 days is no longer adequate. Everybody needs 2 gallons of water per person for 2 weeks. Everybody needs non-perishable food. You need dog food. You need any special medication. You need a family safety plan in case you're separated, how you're going to connect.
Wow.
There's a long list, and I know our beloved telephone book has, I don't know if anybody still keeps the telephone book, but the telephone book, the Red Cross has resources, the county has great resources.
All of us realize that the county has resources on their website.
Yep.
And the telephone book in most every location. We all get them and have them somewhere sitting close by. That's great that things are there. And a lot of things are here are common sense, to take the things that you need and have dry food, have some way to have light.
You need food for your pets. You need food for your children. If you have infants, you need diapers. If you have infants, you need that becomes quite a bit of storage capacity if you're talking about a minimum of 2 weeks worth. I'm hosting a disaster preparedness meeting at Kihei Community Association September meeting. We're going to work on a disaster preparedness and response plan for South Maui in conjunction with a state group whose name escapes me at the moment, but there's a general who's in charge of it, and he's coming to present. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I know that West Maui Taxpayers Association just finished doing this plan with the same group for the west side, and I think it's really important that our communities just start thinking about, how we're going to handle, how we're going to prepare.
I went to a meeting, I don't remember, I don't know if you were there specifically, but someone came and presented a plan about water runoff near Kulani Hukoi and that whole, I want to say, craziness. The the lower area where the Hilton is just being built is now going to be, like the saltwater pool.
Right.
So
we're building
what
too.
is
We're
going
still
on?
building, still a little too close to the ocean, I think. I'm surprised to see, and of course, building permits are a county function. But I'm surprised to see, particularly on the ocean side, on the Makai side of South Kihei Road, where all of that sand wants, the beach wants to come inland.
It does seem
and
like
it
it,
seems
doesn't it?
like we should be paying attention to those kinds of things.
So that's just something to, I guess, mention. I like to step where I don't think state or county and whose regulation, but I know that one always. Every time I drive there, I wonder, why is the Hilton still going ahead? Are they planning this could be a moat? Are they rerouting Kihei Road?
They are going to raise Kihei Road as part of their mandate for their permit. They're actually going to raise South Kihei Road to the level of the bridge that's behind it.
Yeah.
So, again, where Hawaiian values can save all of us, the Mauka to Makai concept and not hardening our gulches and, helping control stream
People know
flow
what
and
that
water
means,
flow.
not hardening our gulches. That means don't put cement in there and make them these large things that
Or
have
just
huge
pave over
amounts of
them.
water
Yeah.
coming down that can't be used and assimilated into the areas before they hit down below. I mean, that's another issue I'm sure you always hearing, the freshwater, saltwater, fluent, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm particularly concerned about our injection wells at the Kihei wastewater treatment plant, similarly to the one in Lahaina that our county is getting ready to challenge at the Supreme Court. If anyone is concerned about injection wells and the future of our Clean Water Act, I encourage you highly to please contact your county council representatives and let them know that you do not want them to continue to pursue the lawsuit at the Supreme Court that's going to dismantle our Clean Water Act.
Hears that. It's time for us to all make our voices heard to the county council and to the mayor, who are receptive to our voices.
Most particularly Mike Molina, Tasha Kama, and Alice Lee.
Okay.
Those are the 3 votes that we need to convince to please stop this appeal to the Supreme Court. We're literally going to attach Maui to the Trump administration and dismantlement of our clean water protections
That's
from
powerful.
the 1970s.
So Tasha and Alice and
Mike Molina are the 3
and how
votes
was
that we
Ricky
want.
Hokama on this? He
I'm not
recognizes-
sure. To be honest, and forgive me, I'm
I
not
only
sure of
brought
the
him up
committee
because
assignments.
I like to think that when the truth is, set out clearly, like in this kind of neutral zone, that we can get a lot of agreements and looking at things in a different perspective. Because I'm sure that Alice and Mike Molina, for sure, and Tasha Kama don't want to destroy the work that's been done at a national level and how their part.
Right,
Wow.
we're talking about chemical companies being able to spill into waterways. We're talking about
Can you imagine any of those 3 wanting to not support
I
those
think
important things? And that's the reason I say maybe this is the most, to me, when there's an election year on radio, I know we're restricted. We have to have all the candidates equal time. But when it isn't election year, those are times when our representatives have an open ear, and really, I think the public has the greatest chance to really communicate. So I'm saying it in the sense of Alice Lee, Mike Molina, Tasha Kama. Those are names, we mentioned them a few times. Now that we know that the people, I hope our audience says, hey, the Clean Water Act, if we pursue this and we were to overturn something that would now let all that effluent, all that stuff going into all our country and all the regulation and restriction be gone because of we have
it'll be a
chance
real
to make
stain
a
on
difference
our reputation.
here. Maui isn't a perfect animal. So why would we want to be known for that? The one to destroy a national effort to clean the water. What do you think, Alice, Mike, Tasha? Anyway, we hope you'll come on the show and tell us and tell our audience. By the way, if you want to call us, some of us know that we're at 808-873-3435. That's the call-in line. I'm here with Tina Wildberger, our state rep from Kihei, Hawaii, and I'm Jason Schwartz. And we still have some time before the break, but I just really, I hope I'm not being too radical in the sense that I've been around this politics thing a long time. This is 25 years ago I ran for mayor, and I didn't do that lightly. And all these years, these ideas I see, there really aren't, when you speak to people on different sides of issues, those sides go away pretty quickly when we talk about ramifications in a personal way. If Alice Lee was sitting here and we say, what would be the pain of dropping this? What's it going to do?
Well, I don't see a downside to dropping the suit.
See what I mean?
We've spent a lot of money. The county's spent millions fighting the suit, and millions could have gone into our wastewater treatment systems, upgrading them, improving them. Currently on the west side, they're looking at an improvement with a 1 million gallon storage tank. Well, professionals working in that area will tell you they need a 3 million gallon tank, and the money that we've spent fighting a lawsuit could instead have been invested in infrastructure that we need
to do the appropriate thing right now.
Well, I say it's never too late. I'm not involved in the procurement and that, but I know that they're putting in a 1 million gallon tank, and we need a 3.
State and county, good ideas travel and don't have boundaries. See, this is very
So we want to be
important.
able to distribute our R1 or R2 water around to agricultural opportunities instead of injecting into
You were talking about Kiani Rollins Fernandez, council.
Yes.
Kelly King, council. In fact, council chair.
I was both of their campaign managers.
Right. So, campaign manager to me means you have pierced the veil of how to market a candidate, I want to say. That's yours.
I'm very much a product of HAPA's Kuleana Academy training, boot camp training boot camp training program from the winter of 2016. I was in their inaugural class. They're currently working with their 4th class this summer on Oahu, and they have produced a lot of great candidates. Kiani was an alumnus. Gary Hoosier's HAPA, absolutely, my mentor. I can't credit those efforts enough in bringing people who want to serve their communities to the table to be able to be competitive in the candidate arena.
Well, I'm thinking about myself here. Sorry. When I hear Gary Hoosier, because I've been around politics here so long and had my foot in the game, I remember when I was candidate, when he was candidate, way back when, and I'm really glad to see that the wisdom and experience of someone like Gary Hoosier is being passed on to people like yourself. And
yeah, it's a wonderful program. It is a nonpartisan program, so you don't have to be a affiliate of a certain Democratic Party. But the training is invaluable. Check out HAPA's website, Hawaii Alliance for Progressive Action. You'll find a link to the Kuleana Academy there on their website.
Good. Well, all you young people, now that I'm older, young people could be 50 to me.
It's all relative.
60. My goodness gracious. But also, I think that it's important that more of our audience, is involved in choosing the direction of things on the island.
Yeah, I think our biggest liability is the non-voter, the disengaged, the uninspired citizen. We need more engagement, but we need to give people a reason to be engaged. We need to give them hope, and we need to give them promise, and we need to give them vision, and then we can have a better engaged electorate.
Well, see now, all of us out here in viewing land, here's a candidate who is speaking words, taking action. That's the quintessential formula for making positive change. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Thanks, Jason.
I don't know how many people go into this politics with good intentions. We hear so many stories. I imagine you probably could tell something, but, you know, about people in politics who truly are fixed in their positions and aren't ready to change. I haven't met anyone so far that in conversation can't come to agreements that bring down all these walls and accomplish things like getting them to drop the lawsuit. Things that need discussion outside of a political arena. So I hope, and I really do invite Mike Molina. In fact, we'll try to get Mike Molina on, and Tasha Kama, and Alice Lee said she'll be on sometime in September. I think it's really important to discuss these things and have people be aware, because number one, election cycle's coming up again, but none of us are, I hope, are one issue things. We have so many things. You, just in the little time we spend together, I can see that you cross lines, both in the people that you associate with, to try to accomplish things in the local council level and also working on the state level. Have you had much opportunity to work with the federal group?
So we don't get as much attention personally from our federal representatives, but that's very hard with the geographic separation. They're working in Washington, D.C. We're so far away in Hawaii. I feel like, you know, federal programs bring money into the state in a variety of ways, and that happens, and the state has to be careful not to let those monies lapse or go away because they didn't do the appropriate things. But I identify our biggest challenges are between our county and state governments not working together. And I learned this early on the campaign trail, working with Kelly King's campaign, and just seeing how the state and the county just seem to operate in silos. And the same with our state departments. We need each department from the county and the state to be cooperating, whether it's Department of Transportation or wastewater development from the DOH to our wastewater county departments. We need to start working together to plan and fund everything in a more cooperative basis, instead of each department closing their eyes and pointing the other way and saying, oh, sorry, that's a state road, or sorry, that's a county road. I did a tour with the Department of Land and Natural Resources and Hawaii Invasive Species Council last week, and saw how the state and county resources were cooperating delightfully to fight our fires over the last couple weeks. And that's a great example of how we can combine personal resources, equipment resources and assets plus financial resources together for a common purpose. If we can do that with our roads and development with the Department of Transportation, if we can do that with the Department of Health and our wastewater county department, I think we will all be way better ahead.
Do you see discussions happening that could create that in the short term?
Hopefully, you know, I keep expressing that message anytime I get the chance, and you know, I'm just one of 51 voices in our state house, but I keep going to the table with that message, and hopefully we'll be getting, you know, better interagency communication to better our communities. It's a new idea, I think. I don't think too many people have been saying, oh yeah, these departments need to be working together. And interdepartmentally also, like, we need the Department of Transportation and the Department of Education to work together in planning our schools, because when you put in a school, you need the roads to go there. You've got that four-way stop that's in Maui Lani. That's just a headache for everybody. They're working on that. They're going to work on some changes there. I'm advocating for roundabouts in Kihei to calm and keep traffic moving, but moving more slowly after we had several fatalities just last week. I think that our signalized highway system isn't serving us well. And so I'm right now planning a meeting with the Department of Education and the Department of Transportation on Oahu, bringing over Kihei Community Association advocates, and all sitting down at the table so that we can get the decision makers to understand our messaging and what our community wants as far as safe passage for the new high school. Thankfully, the school's making great progress, Mauka of Piilani Highway,
Yes.
but we're still working on getting safe crossing for our students so that we're not putting students and drivers of vehicles in the same path. So we're going to go to the state and give them some examples of underpasses. We've got our beautiful gulches, and that's a great resource that will be much lower cost than doing an overpass, or, putting kids in with traffic just is not a solution, I think.
Well, you talk about slowing down the traffic. Kihei, I don't know where to project except up in population. This isn't what I signed up for. I'm sure that many of us who have come over from the mainland are now here. I've been here since 1988 also. But it's now changed to where we really look like Oahu from the sky when we fly in. It scares me when I see it. I hope that we're not killing the goose. When I was working with a TV production company on the west side and got to experience the Lahaina bypass and thought, wow, this really made a difference in the traffic, but stops right at the cannery and comes right down and creates a new
That's a big
challenge.
bottleneck down there, but that's supposed to be temporary. They're going to finish that bypass.
they?
Is supposed to continue
Do you have any
into
kind of
Kapalua.
time frame?
I to be honest,
I'm just curious.
My colleague Angus McKelvey might have better 411 on the actual bypass schedule, but I know that is quite a deposit into Lahaina down there
Do you
by
guys
Longs.
cooperate as you're talking about?
Absolutely.
Angus? You
Yeah.
representatives. Obviously, you're speaking to Kelly and Kiani, and I'm sure other people. Do you find that there's a lot of communication between you?
I think we need
thinking
more.
about bills?
There's never enough. I've only been through one session at State House, so I'm still finding my way and my path, and frankly, my learning curve was so steep, I found myself, in my office just trying to get my act together for, each new phase of the session. So now I have one session under my belt, ready to get rolling next session, and looking to develop relationships with my colleagues, all 50 other of them.
50 other of them. We're going to take a break for, I don't know, about 50. We have some people that are our sponsors and keep our station, KAKU, running, and this show. Remember, you can find this show at MauiNeutralZone.com. You can see all our shows there and listen. We're on Akaku because we put them on there. You can also find us on Facebook Live. You can find us on YouTube. We're out there, and we are so happy to be here. Tina Wildberger, you are a terrific guest. Tina is the state rep from Kihei, and we'll have her back after a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Jason.
So hang in. Zone with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to sincerely thank David Bryan for his support. David was founder and head of school at New Road School in Santa Monica, California, and is the board chair at the Ojai Foundation and on the board for Brave New Films. The Neutral Zone is heard live Mondays at 11 a.m. here on KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, and again on Saturdays at 7 a.m., as well as on TV and on MauiNeutralZone.com.
Get a jump on protecting Maui's coral reefs. No need to wait for Hawaii's new sunscreen law to go into effect. This is Archie Kalepa asking you to make the switch today to sunscreens that do not contain reef-harming oxybenzone or octanoxate. Find out about better choices at mauireefs.org/sunscreen. Sponsored with aloha by Maui Nui Marine Resource Council, Maui Visitors Bureau, and the County of Maui Office of Economic Development.
Aloha, this is Bill Best inviting you to join me for my show on KAKU 88.5 FM. It's Off the Record, and I have a chance to speak with some of the most interesting people on and off the island. So be sure to listen in every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 until noon here on KAKU, the voice of Maui, 88.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Vince Fodi, co-host of the Biscuits and Gravy Show. KAKU is a listener-supported station. This means that all of the great programs you hear, like mine, are supported by you as well as our underwriters. If you would like to help keep the voice of Maui talking loud and clear, go to kakufm.org/donate today and give. And don't miss the Biscuits and Gravy Show, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. on 88.5 FM, the voice of gravy.
Hi, we're back. This is the Neutral Zone. I'm here with Tina Wildberger. We were surprised, backhanded by the sponsorships suddenly cutting off early. We have terrific sponsors. One is my brother, David Bryan, who was an educator for 25 years. Now he has the Center for Common Good. They built what do we call it, elementary school and junior high school and high school for people that don't have resources, right next to one where he was teaching, where they were, paying high fees for STARS kids and all that stuff. He was at Crossroads and New Roads in Los Angeles. And now he's the Center for Common Good. Herb Alpert gave him a piece of land. They built all this campus for the school.
Fantastic.
And trying to bring up things sort of similar to me. Common good. Take down the walls. We're not fighting here. We may, I was just mentioning, I like Mike Molina and Alice Lee, and I like, Tasha. And I think that when I can't really put anyone in a bag, and say those are three very different people who, when hearing what this can mean, might just be that change of the voice that does the good thing that we all think seems that.
I think it's important to stress that anybody that steps up to serve their community is indeed doing that serving.
Yeah.
And that, our value systems help us form our opinions and our votes, but it's also important to communicate and get our messages across and understand the long-term ramifications of the decisions that we make.
So, your voice to Alice Lee or Mike Molino or Tasha Kama about that issue will be heard. And that's really important. Thanks, you for
Jason.
joining us in this
Thrilled
forum.
to be here.
KAKU is a radio station that's low power, meaning if you're not within line of sight of the top of this building here in Kahului, you can't hear it, which is why I mention all those other ways we can hear this stuff. I keep thinking that the people that are guests on my show, I have picked out as people that I think have something to say, have value to our community, are more than just a flash in the pan. They have something and that's why I say these shows are building to a point where I think what's going to happen is we're going to point out, or it's going to point out, that all these things work together. I'm also into integration of state and local and working together, taking different departments and working together. I modeled my nonprofit in 1991 when I started after the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism and Maui Inc. magazine.
Very good.
Now, what was I doing? This is before there was an internet. When we were talking about integration of things, and because I haven't no political affiliation, I'm not in any seat, we can talk about things in unique ways here. For example, affordable housing. Maybe you would like to say things and I'd love to give you the ball and have you say. But I have ideas that involve private sector and county and then state and different than I've seen presented, because the people, many of us in the private sector I've noticed, think, oh, well, we have a state representative, we have a county representative, we have that agency over there, they're helping the housing thing. Oh, what do you mean there's no help for the homeless? Look at that place over there. Instead of making it personal and integrating it into. So I'm one of those guys who wants to integrate, and so.
Yeah, we cannot achieve affordable housing without the private sector. We need the private sector to come together with the state and the county to plan our housing that we need and fund it, right. And so we need infrastructure first development, and so that means we need to stick to our community plans and not deviate from them whimsically for individual projects. We need the roads, we need the schools, we need the wastewater for any new development that goes in. And that's why I really like the development planned for the Central Valley that's coming up, because we're going to get a wastewater treatment plant there, we're going to get the schools, we're going to have a lot of affordable housing, and that's going to be a great project.
And who's the real spearhead there? Mahi Pono?
No. This is from Waikapu on down into the, and forgive me, I've forgotten the developer's name. His first name is Mike. It'll come to me.
Mike Atherton.
Yes, Atherton's project.
Now, many people will, hear these names. He has lots of experience in building multifamily things and apartment buildings, and from the mainland, came here with this vision, bought the Maui tropical plantation and that whole thing with a plan. It's been a long time cooking.
He put a lot of time investment into it, didn't give up on it, and did it right. He went to the advocates and the environmentalists and the conservationists to say, what do I need to do to make this work? And he listened, and he made the changes to his plan, and it's really great. I'm also thrilled to see 2 affordable housing projects going up in Maui, South Maui now, in Kihei. We've got the Kaiwahine project going in North Kihei, and then one at Honolulu, and both of those will be 100% affordable rentals.
That's a pleasure to hear.
Yeah, we're going to be able to give working families a place to live, maybe, reduce commute times if they are living up country or somewhere further away.
If we wanted to duplicate that again, could we?
I think
What's
so.
Standing in our way?
A vision. We just got to have vision, and we've got to have
Do we need
the
to
community
get the
planning.
developers to say, okay, let's take these boilerplates. We'll do this again.
That's been the challenge in South Maui particularly. For 10 years, there was nothing but luxury development done. It went over a decade. We need 400 units a year. We built none in a decade. So that's a deficit of 4,000 units over a decade, and everyone's, clamoring for affordable housing. So now, finally, we've got these 2 complexes coming online, and it's just going to give some relief to our families.
As we hear that, is there anything that's stopping us from planning 2 more and planning 2 more?
I guess it's the will of our
private developers.
Well, we need the developers and the county planning and housing departments and committees to mandate.
Where emergency might be the word, or is it not? I always use the word emergency on my show here, thinking we do have a housing
crisis. We do. We have working families that are houseless, and our homeless issues span over a wide variety of challenges. Some people have substance abuse issues, and some people have mental health issues, but there are also working families that are houseless because they simply can't afford, and there isn't enough inventory for them to have an affordable place. So adding these affordable units will take some of the pressure off, but I think it's a drop in the bucket. I think we need thousands of new units.
That's the reason I asked about what we say. You just identified. If the county and the private developers both go like this with their bobblehead, I'm laughing because I don't mean to diminish. We need yeses. We need, even if it be that developer doesn't have his hands on the next project, we can keep, I think we should boilerplate the thing that's working successfully and move in those directions, and knowing that under emergency we might even move where we're doing it, but we have to keep
it's about sticking to the community plans, and that's why I'm encouraged to have Kelly as our council chair, because that's something that she really hammered home on the campaign trail, that we have community plans. We have the Maui-wide plan, and then we have each individual neighborhood or community plan, and we need to just stick to those, but we need to make sure we're doing infrastructure first development. We can't just put the housing in.
I'm excited because someone like yourself, who is aware of the tie-in between state and county, to have, by example, 2 friends that are on council that see that same vision, that can work with you to pitch this to a state that is very receptive to it. We could
Hopefully.
talk about I want to say saving the day, thank you for stepping out. It takes people, whether you win or whether you lose, stepping out and
It's
running
a tough.
as
It's a tough bit. It's a tough bit of business. It sure is.
And you have, serious issues that even if you weren't in that seat, your commitment has been clearly there. And thank you for really sticking with us. As someone long time in this community, I don't know whether it's right or not, but sometimes when I see someone that's capable in an area, I kind of turn my back a little bit, meaning I figure there's a good leader there. I can now deal with another area. And then it's almost like when you're in martial arts, they say, if you have 12 different people coming at you, you need to deal with the one right in front of you before you deal with the next one. And
there's certainly no shortage of issues, for sure. I had no dream a year ago when I was running that I would be immersed in the issues of midwives, or that I would be immersed in the issues of human trafficking. But because I am a state representative, I now care not just about Kihei, Wailea, and Makena, but I care about all of Maui Nui and all of Hawaii Nui. And so we have a lot of challenges and a lot of people that need a voice, and I plan to be there to help bring their issues to the forefront.
Do you find that the representatives, for example, I'm sure, like you say, you're just sort of getting to know people in this regime that's in Oahu. Is there much time for you guys to get to know each other a little bit?
Some. You get to know people who are on your committees. You spend time in committee, but it's, I'm assigned to 3 committees. I'm on the Environmental Protection and Energy Committee. I'm on the Water, Land, and Hawaiian Affairs Committee, and I'm on the Finance Committee, so I get to see a lot. I see everything in finance, so I get a little taste of all of the things that are kind of coming through the pipeline because I'm on finance. But I'm also a business owner who's been paying a minimum wage, a livable minimum wage, $15 an hour since October of 2015, and that was a very important message for me to take to the state capitol, because Hawaii's minimum wage is still only $10.10 an hour, and it hasn't been raised in a long, long time. And that isn't enough money for people to get by, to be able to afford housing. And so we need to raise our minimum wage. And I had what I think selfishly was a really great minimum wage bill that offered a tip credit to employers who have tipped employees, so that if you own a restaurant, you're a restaurant owner, and you've got fine dining in your restaurant, and your waiters are making $20, $30, $40 an hour while they're working for you, they don't need a higher minimum wage. It's the housekeepers, it's the people that are working for smaller companies that are not necessarily getting that higher wage that need to be supported and uplifted.
And how is that going? You think that you're going to have an opportunity?
Well, I'm going to put it through again this year. The bill that the Labor Committee was putting through was an unusual bill that gave credits to employers to reduce the minimum wage if they provided medical benefits. But as everyone knows, unless you are the state, you're already mandated to pay medical benefits to your employees through the Hawaii Prepaid Healthcare Act of 1978. And so we all know that you cannot eat medical benefits, and we all know that you cannot pay rent with your medical benefits. And so medical benefits should not be considered income. Medical benefits are what I consider a human right, and whether or not those benefits should be employer mandated is not for me to say. I'm happy to comply with that law in Hawaii, and have managed a successful business for 20 years doing that for my employees. But ironically, the state does not follow the same rules, and state employees pay quite a bit out of their paychecks for their medical benefits. Interestingly, that's one thing I learned.
Yeah, that's pretty interestingly. Wow. So, being a state employee has its ups and its downs.
Right. I was surprised to find that teachers, for instance, we have our teachers also struggle to pay their bills and make their obligations on a regular basis. For the cost of living, Hawaii's teachers are some of the lowest paid. Teachers are getting 30 or 40% of their healthcare premiums taken out of their paycheck.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and so I pay 100% of my employees' medical premiums because by law in the Prepaid Healthcare Act, I can only take 1% of their gross wages toward their medical benefits. That's the law. And so I could provide a very basic plan and take 1% of their, but it's hardly worth the paperwork. And I consider it an expenditure I can make that I don't have to pay payroll taxes on. So I pay 100% of my employees' medical benefits, even though I don't have to, because the amount that I can take for them is so minuscule anyway. But that's not what's happening with state employees.
Wow. So what's our way out of this problem? I mean,
we need to raise our minimum wage first.
So when we raise our minimum wage,
let's take our minimum wage to $15
not all
fast.
employers seem as, at least from what I'm seeing, are as informed as you are, or have calculated what will happen if they raise their minimum wage, or if they cover health expenses. Is there a way that employers can better understand where it's to their benefit?
Well, I find that my staff profile is a happier, more contented, more loyal staff member. If they're making a living wage and they have excellent benefits, they're going to work hard for my company. You mentioned I don't have to bag ice or deliver ice anymore, and that's because of the good people that are working in my ohana, my ice ohana, and, taking care of the ice needs for the entire island. And we really are sort of somewhere between an amenity and a utility. People have to have it. And so we want to be there for them 365 days a year, and I need super dependable, reliable guys, and I've got a great team, but it's taken years to cultivate that. And one of the things that really sent us over the edge, we went from $12 straight to $15 an hour in October of 2015, and it was revolutionary for the climate in my workplace.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. I hope that other employers are listening in here and take heed. And so I hope that you have success with the passage of this. I'm sure that...
Well, I'll work on it again. Like I said, it's, I'm on these two committees. I'm not on the labor committee. You can't be on all the committees, but I put the bills forward and learning how to negotiate the different decision makers and influencers. For instance, I put through a restorative justice bill that was the committee chair was kind enough to come to me and say, hey, I can't hear this bill because we got opposition from all of the different prosecutors' offices. And so, okay, fair enough. So now I'm working with the different prosecutors' offices and rewriting my bill, and I'll put it forward again, and hopefully we'll be able to see it move forward.
It seems that the engineer cut off the end of the show. Oh well, we'll have to come back again with Tina.